Hello guys, this is Nikki, you also known as Physics Trader, and you're watching the January 13, 2021 Philippine Market Update. Let's begin. I'm reading your questions. Teresa Go is asking, my vlog ka ba sa upcoming IPO DD REIT? We already answered that. You can check actually what to expect on the DD REITs. It's already shared here on the YouTube, so we've already done that. Answer is you can actually expect something like a 5 to 10% rally in DD REITs, but I'm not really more it's really more of an alternative to bond investors, so that's how to interpret the REITs. Marvin Yonko is asking, is there a PSEI index pullback on the way? Likelihood is around 70 to 80%, and the answer to that question is a yes. Do you think that DSC can be like ACEN? What are your thoughts on MA? We can take a look at the disclosures for that. Should MAC be sold to prevent further losses? Let us begin the market update and answer those questions for you. For the day, the index is actually down 15 points. It's still trading at 7,242. But as you could see, a lot of companies have already succumbed to a lot of profit taking, while other companies continue to go higher. What are the statistics today? Let's take a look at your index. You can see that the market value today is actually going lower at 8.8 billion. It sometimes is at 10.4. It's now at 8.8. You are seeing that there's 131 advancers, 105 decliners. Foreign net selling is negative 220 million. And although the gainers and the decliners are almost at a match, you could still see that the index is not really moving a huge percentage. Take note that from a percentage change, it's within 1 to 2%. The only big gainers are 3% up on your Metro Bank, 3% up in your Security Bank, 3% up on your Mega World. But actually, these are already in the resistance zones rather than in the buying zones. So if Metro Bank goes up to about 55 or 51 or 53, it's just going to be an impetus to sell further rather than to buy more. Similarly, for your Security Bank, it's the same. Even if it can go higher for another 5 to 10%, these are actually opportunities to take profits rather than to buy. If you take a look at your SMs all the way to your Ayala lands, I'll read it to you. They're all mostly in resistances. So on the question of, is the index ripe for a pullback? Chances are the arrow of the probability is probably on the way down. So it's actually good to be taking profits. SM is 1079. It's not a problem if you're selling at 1080, 1100. Take profits a little. BPI is trading at 85. We've seen it hit 90, but it's still at around 5 to 10% away from that peak. Still a lot of range to sell into as it goes higher to about 89, 90. Metro Bank at about 50 pesos is also near resistance. Your Security Bank 134 is also near resistance. Mega World 4.30 is actually resistance. PLDT 1436 also within 5% hairline from a resistance. BDO 111 resistance. Globe 2046, although this is just stable, your resistance is still somewhere in the around 2100 to 2200. But that said, your PLDT and Globe are not really ranging quite huge versus the other properties or the banks. Your Meralco is steady as well, 296. Take note that these are just entities that really do nothing much. They're just stable. Jollibee is trading at 199.5. You'll notice that it is slumbering at about 200. It neither drops, it neither rises. It's just asleep. Your Aboitiz Power is also 2665, just a rectangular, non-moving entity. LTG 13.46, AGI 1014, Emperador 10 bucks, Bloomberry 808, RLC 2195, Robinson's Retail 6375, DMC 5.4, MPI 434, FGen 32, San Miguel Corp 128, Pure Gold 3805, JG Summit 72, Aboitiz Equity Ventures 46.5, ICT 124, URC 155, SM Prime 39, AC 818, Ayala Land 40 bucks. The only oversold candidate here is actually Pure Gold at 38.05, and you could likely argue that it can fall. Doesn't mean that it doesn't fall. If the index goes down from 7.2 to about 6.7, does it prevent Pure Gold from not getting sold down at about 36 or even at 35? Nothing prevents it to go down. momentum can kick it fall further. However, it looks like among these 30 index issuances, your Pure Gold and your Robinson's Retail are seen to be stable. So at 63 Robinson's Retail, that is also these two supermarkets are actually oversold. And in my view, another 8 to 10% drop, whether that happens or it doesn't, is actually more of an impetus to buy rather than to sell. Take a look at your stats, your top traded analytics. Let's go to your top traded names. You can see that the top traded names continues to be very much on the speculative side. Your APL is now done after rallying from 05 to 27. It's now 235. You could see that THA is still up to 255. Nothing can prevent it from it rising. However, these movements are mostly extended after extension. MEH 20% up to 91 to 354. Dito Telecom at 12 bucks. ACEN still falling from about 6.5 to 6.2. We'll take a look at all these top 10 names. Notice that all the top 10 names are not index names. These are all non-index names. EPL FA, ACEN Dito Ma, Merrimart MRC, your BDO Ayala Lana, SM Prime Pure Gold, BPI Jollibee are your index names. So you could see that the top 7 are all mostly non-index speculatives. The rest are actually still speculatives, right? So you see an 18% drop today on MG after rallying something in the last yesterday, and you're seeing AB up 11%. You're seeing some non-movers go suddenly up, and these are what you call speculative issues. Nothing on the trending zone. Actually, they are mostly in the buy and sell type of zones. Okay. Top gainers. Let's take a look at top gainers. BSC up 49%. There's a disclosure. We can read up onto it. Your MAH and MHB are also top traded, especially your MA. 20% up, your FA. So you could see that the market is probably wondering what is happening with BSC and MAH. So the rest are actually already known entities, and so there's nothing much to discuss about that. So yeah, let's take a look and read what's happening on your BSC. A quick look at the edge would find out that these are the 5 most viewed disclosures. Comprehensive corporate disclosure and backdoor. Says here that this MOA refers to the subscription by M2DC to 9,827,000,000 shares of BEC to be issued out of the increase in ACS. So the transaction will infuse a fresh capital to expand its current portfolio of energy-focused projects, including solar, wind, biomass, petroleum, and other types of energy projects. With this, the company hopes to hold a project portfolio, bringing in revenues to enhance the shareholder value. Subscription price of 28 cents represents a premium over the par value. Due diligence, we have a 20% participation interest in the Iriga geothermal project operated by Desco Inc. The work will be 2 wells to drill up to 2022, approved by the Department of Energy, and is being undertaken by the said operator. The company has a 15% equity in Vintage EPC and the VT International Construction Company, which are already companies registered in Thailand and the primary EPC contractors of a 220 megawatt solar power project in Minbu, Myanmar. Phase 2 of the project has started, and the company has an ongoing application from 50 megawatt wind power service contract pending with the Department of Energy. So the interest on the Iriga is still being undertaken. The work might be 2022. The Myanmar is still 2022. So we have about 1 to 2 years to pursue these. And the company is looking to increase their shares from about 10 billion to 20 billion and are raising money as such. Take note that the board of directors who are agreed to this, Mr. Oscar de Venecia, Ramon L. Mapa, Oscar de Venecia Jr., Beatriz Jane Ang, regulars. So these are your regulars, then these are your independents. The president and CEO is Oscar de la Venecia, president and CEO. So we can probably take a look what this M2DC is trying to do. M2DC is primarily holding 55% today of Phil Oil Gas, whose primary purpose is to engage and acquire and mostly on the volatile substances such as oil, gas. So this is gonna be a new business foray for BSC. The market today rallied 50% on account of this news because of their discussion of being a solar and wind farm portfolio. And so I think the most important question here is how capable could the management of Oscar de Venecia actually handle this BSC power, wind power, and solar power. So let's take a look at that. So as early as October 25, 2019, Basic Energy, even in 2016, wanted to pursue RE projects or renewable energy projects. Let's take a look at these wind projects that they're looking at, the wind farm, the wind power, etc. And who is Mr. Oscar de Venecia? From Basic Energy Corporation, let's look at their profile, guys. Oscar de Venecia is the chairman. He was educated in Malayan colleges and Syracuse University. Previous position was Basic Eco Market Farms, February 2009 until the present. So he is chairman of Basic Eco Market Farms, Panfi Aquaculture, Basic Energy Corp. He's a member of the Rotary Club of Makati West, vice chairman of PSEI, and these are his accomplishments. So you could see that they have an address here in Village Makati and a website at basicenergy.ph. Let's take a look at that. They've got a few employees here, which tells us that they want to probably hire if they're going to do the solar wind farming projects. So we aim to be a major company in the exploration, production, and supply of alternative renewable energy. Investors relations, let's take a look at that. Some partners. Our president and CEO is discussing that this is their 50th anniversary. Let's take a look at, if any, about the discussion on various fields of renewable energy. Oops, sorry. Go. I was trying to expand it, guys.
This is the story of Basic Energy Corporation. Its humble and modest beginnings.
I'm gonna try to fast forward. It's because it's a 20-minute video. Let me just try to fast forward the important parts. The company is rewriting.
Energy Corporation. Its humble and modest beginnings. The first phase of the Fine Crystal projects took off also in 1996. To create revenue streams for its continued operations, the company explored opportunities to invest in projects with shorter gestation periods while it continued to pursue its long-term geothermal projects. The company thus looked at the solar power projects both here and abroad. Last year, the company had the opportunity to participate in the EPC project for a 220-megawatt solar power project in Minbu, Myanmar. The company acquired significant stakes in two Thai companies engaged by the project developer to handle the supply of materials and equipment and the construction requirements of the power plant. The project is targeted to be completed by the end of this year, with the power plant slated to commence commercial operations for the first.
We shall continue to look for other energy projects both in the country and abroad, and in line with our mandate to develop a balanced project portfolio with projects ranging from short to long-term gestation periods.
Basic Energy Corporation capped its 50th year in operation as a full-fledged renewable energy company. With the Babini geothermal project on track,
so they only have one video so far and they only have 7 subscribers. They don't have a lot of viewers, so I guess nobody has been taking a look at Basic Energy except for today's movement of 50%. You'll notice that last year, 2019, Basic Energy, 2 years ago, they have already signified an interest for a wind project. Oscar de Venecia Jr. said that they had initial discussions of a possible development of a wind farm project. Initial visits indicated a good potential for this, and in an interview, they want to finalize around 40 to 50 megawatts. So we are talking to our partners. We sit down and negotiate. At that point in time, Basic Energy shares was at 25 cents last about 2019. So Oscar De Venecia is 52 years old. He's also the president at Basic Eco Market Farms. Let's take a look at what he is interested in doing. Let's read everything about the management team. Let's take a look at that. Basic Eco Market Farms Inc. overview. Okay, think geoenergy. So they've got geothermal studies, strives to be the leading Philippine, so a lot of mission and vision. Basic Energy is looking to have unit name change, to change the name of its unit, Basic Eco Market Farms Inc. So Basic Eco Market Farms Inc. does what? Let's try to see. Not a lot of news here. Let's see. It's a medical device company based out of the Philippines. Very little information about this. They're actually as early as 2014 to change the name of its unit, Basic Eco Market Farms, to Basic Renewables Inc. So they want to engage in production of solar, wind, hydropower, and sale of renewable energy. They have a minority stake in SC47, oil and gas development. So what you could see here, guys, is that for the last 6 to 7 years, this company has been trying its best to really be, renewable. So let's take a look at what the market has said for BSC. Other than the fact that it went ceiling today, we should take note at what the market believes in and what's happening. Okay, so market cap today is 2 billion pesos. They are raising money. So that means that they would issue 10 billion more shares, and therefore the market cap would increase by double from 10 to 20 billion, right? So they will be adding more shares into the market. And this is what's happened in your Basic Energy for the last how many years? So for the last, let's take a look at the last month. Let's take a look at the 3-month zone. You'll notice that Basic Energy has been listed since 1984. From 70 cents, rallied to about 4.5, fell down to as low as about 5 centavos. I'm not sure if there was dilution on their part. 5 cents, creeped up to 50 cents, fell down to 16 cents. In the last maybe 10 years, even in the last 10 years, you could see that PSC went from 10 cents to 30 cents and only rallied to as high as 55 cents before. That used to be your, what do you call this, 56 cents? This used to be your around 20-year resistance, right? So today's price of 70 cents is actually the 22 years resistance. So this is a powerful chart. I'd have to be honest that the news about the foray on renewable energy is an interesting news. And in fairness, maybe a lot of people are aware of that news, such that these people have already been buying as early as 25 cents. They've probably been buying as early as 33 cents. And so even if they might sell at 70 cents, there might be some people willing to buy as high as 55, given this news and this comprehensive disclosure. So in fairness to this company, what you are seeing is that it has broken this all-time high of 33 cents. And what we only know so far is that they are about 2 years in their foray. For that, since 2019, they've been trying to do the wind farm. It's now 2021. If they do succeed by 2022, the market will pay up for that success. However, as of today, you can see that since 2014 till 2022, 2021, the company has been doing a lot of name changes to signify their need to actually develop renewable energy. So it has been years in the making, and you could also see that clearly in the chart that this has been years in the making as well. So from 2014 till 2021, around 7 years, Basic Energy never broke 33 cents. Only around this month, around December, it actually broke 33. made another all-time high move and another all-time high. I'd say that this is a stock to watch out for. And you could see that the value traded has been rising ever since November. So congrats to those who have a 300% move. Let's see if this goes to peso or beyond. Let's see how the market interprets the news. But you have a bullish fundamentals here and a transformation perhaps on the company's part. I wouldn't know whether they can execute by 2021, but it looks like they have a plan for that. Okay, so answered your question on BSC. What are your thoughts on MA? MAH, all right. Are there news flow on MAH? MAH. Metro Alliance Holdings, company disclosures. They said that they don't know what's happening in their unusual price movement. So it looks to say that Ma has no idea why the company is rising. There is no disclosure on Ma. So it's hard to say about the speculation about it, except perhaps charts. So when you take a look at this went from 2 to 4, around 2 days. In the last couple of years, 10 years from ago, there has been, you can actually check what Ma has been doing in the last maybe 10 years or so to check what is up with these spikes. But usually this company has spikes 1 to 3 and then back to 1, 1 to 3, then back to 1. Now it's back to 2 to 4. I don't know if it's going to back to 2. So there is that habit of going up and then going down. So not being sustainable as well. Not saying that it won't be sustained, but let's see. Let's read the news. Metro Alliance Holdings and Equities Corporation. Take a look at the news from the website. It doesn't have a website. Does it have? Let's see. Typically, guys, the best way to really understand a company is to go straight to the website. And so if the company doesn't give any information, it's very hard to really understand what the company is doing. So if all their press materials and investors relations are not updated, this is 2006, we cannot really do anything about this. These are all very outdated information. Investors relations is so outdated. It's about 15 years ago. So I think the fact that it's not being the IR officer is not, it has nothing here. There's no events, no presentation. I think that this company needs to work on their website, fix it. I have no opinion about it because I can't read much about the company. So the answer would be really nothing to say about it. All right. So I'll quickly answer a few things and then go to global markets soon. I'll read a few questions here. Tips on your ACEN from 11, it's now down to 6. Will it go down further? As you can see, when a company rises strongly, it is inevitable that they actually will not be able to sustain that. So ACEN has already risen from as low as 2 to about as high as 10, right? So the fact that this moved from 5 to 10, that was already it was more like an extension after an extension, right? This was the apathy zone. This is your greed zone. This is your euphoria zone. This was your insanity zone, insane zone, right? So what you know about insanity is that usually momentum goes to the upside, but also to the downside. Explosion to the upside also explodes to the downside. And I think this was normal. Some people who sold at 9 and 10 would probably want to enter back at 550. Why 550? Because the consolidation was here. If you bought at 620 today, thinking that you sold at 9 anyway or 8, you want to get back in at 6. As long as you could buy at 5, and even if it falls back to about 5 or 450, as long as you're willing to buy here, I think you're fine. The highest support here would really be about 350. Although I doubt that you can actually get it at 350. Meaning, if you're buying at 620, can you actually enter it again at 350? I'm not sure about that. Most likely, the entry point would be about 6, 550, maybe 450. So how you address this is really, okay, this is what you do. You know that the people who have it here at about 2, 3 are just willing to hold on to their shares. Maybe they'll hold even the highest entry points of the people with asset probably have it as high as 3. My guess is any price above 350, they've probably dumped it. So it tells you that this is a very huge resistance. And so where is the resistances here? Just your selling front. You've got the resistance at 7, a huge resistance at 760 as well. I don't know if you can actually sell it at 10. So you could see that any rallies would also be seen as a selling front. So typically, these types of moves already have a limited upside. So you've got a limited downside at about 5 perhaps, but also a limited upside. So you're probably, in my view, going to see a range trading formation in the next 6 months around 5 to about 750. That's possible, around 5 to 7 or 5 to 7, 8, ganyan. So I'm sure it can even topple down all the way to about 450 or even at 4. Although I think the lower it goes, the more oversold it goes, the higher the reward for those who are bullish on ACEN. So, but notice that right now, all of these movements, I'll answer a few questions in the comments. No, people are asking, what do you think about Suntrust? I believe that Suntrust here had a consolidation and it hasn't finished the trend. Although some people would say, well, it's already double, right? From about 130, it's almost double to about 230. But usually these types of movements are restructuring. And so, although casinos are definitely not the best secular trends, I do believe that travel and global secular trends on betting and especially online betting is a secular trend. So, as long as Macau eventually Sun City enters their entity inside, it could actually be restructured and revalued such that there might be more leeway for this to continue higher than lower. So my view is for Suntrust, any drops back to about 190 is actually more of an opportunity to enter rather than to sell. You could see that these are actually resistances before. Hello, sorry, I didn't know that I got disconnected, but my do I have to repeat my answer on Sun? I answered that for ASEN, I see a range trade at about 7 to 750 as resistance. A lot of buyers on ASEN around 5 peso. Around, if you bought at 620, you probably will see another support at 550 if it ever falls there. Now, you'll notice as well that for the question on Sun, I think that Sun has a breakout at 188. For those who are aware, Sun is a restructuring effort of Resorts World with partnership with Sun City, Macau. So yes, casinos as a sector is still bleak as of now. COVID pandemic does not allow traveling, and so there will be less revenues except online casinos. I do think that over time, these might actually explode when the reopening rally happens. Not soon. I think it's going to be about 12 months in the making. Now, CPG, what do you think about these talks? Property as a sector, I believe, has a resistance. Unless you surprise on the upside, I think that properties in general have a peak and have a low. So like all properties, I think they have a range. So I do think that's your SM Prime, Ayala Land, and all of these property names are already more on the upper end. And so the other small caps like CPG, small caps like them would probably having a range trade. I think that CPG bottomed out. Yes, I would agree that it bottomed out here at about 35 cents. So you're asking now that it already rebounds here at 46 cents. Because it is cheap, there are people who are bargain hunting these types of names. However, take note that there are these resistances as well. So very strong resistances at 50 to 60. I do think that these resistance. Yeah, I'm sorry about some intermittent connections, but definitely I think that for people asking what do you think about, I already answered BSC, so just replay it. Oil and gas stocks looks to be interesting as well. I think that in general, there's value. Some people think that some energy names are valuable, just like other people getting these cheap names like properties like CPG. However, just be aware that they are capped. Hello? Hello, are you guys still there? Yeah, so it's funny that the Mac chart, if you actually drew, is like really just, it's like a real M, no? So you could see that the MacroAsia chart went somewhere from around 1 to 19, or the 19x move had an M, which is a double top. This is an M, like a MAC. Yeah, so MacroAsia, it's funny that the chart itself actually resembles the word MAC. So here's the thing about MacroAsia. MacroAsia right now has a huge resistance at 10. You could see that 10 to 19 has been a huge resistance that may never return until maybe about 5 years. Now, in the short term, you can also see that this movement from about 2 to 9 is actually very strongly, that is a huge range, don't you think? So 2 to 9 is about a 400% or 300% range. Whether MacroAsia falls down, I think that the question is, will it go higher low or it will reset? In my view, it's going to be higher low. It's going to be higher low. However, it doesn't prevent MacroAsia from actually getting a higher low at about 530. Is it going to go here at about 6 pesos as well? So far, what you could see here from a short-term standpoint on MacroAsia is that these are the most clear stuff that you know about MacroAsia. About MacroAsia, drops are actually seen as a potential higher low. It's just that you are not aware whether the higher low is really here at 6, which actually acted as the first support, or is it going to still further drop here at about 5.3. So how should you handle MacroAsia? I think that MacroAsia is more of an uptrend. There's a higher low. I don't believe that it's going to go back to about 3 or 4, if that's the question, no? So is this a likelihood like 4? The likelihood of 4 actually believe that the reopening would happen in just the next year or so, or even just a few months, you might actually assume that an uptrend is on the way here. So what has happened here was really just as an extension move. This is an uptrend channel. Asia would have a lot of selling pressure about next 6 months or next 3 months. Every time Macro Asia rallies at 750 or 770, you'd have some selling pressure. However, I think that about 6 or even at 530, you'd have a lot of buying pressure. So within the next 6 months, I'd say that until March or even at July, June, most likely you'd see Macro Asia travel about 5 to 7, 8. And you can actually trade the range appropriately, knowing those types of ranges. All right, I think that ends our show. Let's go begin global market updates separately. So thank you very much for liking, subscribing, and sharing to Awesome10X. Please don't forget to watch us again tomorrow, as this is every day. Thank you, and please join the inner circle. That is the awesome10x.com. Bye-bye. Yes, it's every day.